Have you ever started a New Year's resolution and about a week, 2 weeks, maybe even a month if you're lucky, failed miserably? So essentially, if you rely solely on New Year's resolutions in order to improve yourself or better yourself at anything, you are going to fail for multiple reasons, pretty much. A lot of people are very much into the mindset of new year, new me, and all that kind of stuff. Now, that's not what I have a problem with. The problem that I have with this whole New Year's resolution, this new year, new me thing, is the fact that people are waiting until the new year in order to improve themselves, in order to change something about themselves, rather than do it straight off the bat. And I know I'm going to hurt a lot of people's feelings, because people do this every single year. They make resolutions and then they never stick to them, and then they get annoyed at themselves and others for calling them out on it. So some people are going to get a little bit annoyed at me, and I'm going to hurt a few people's feelings, but I want to get some truth into you and actually help you achieve those resolutions in a sense. Even though I don't like New Year's resolutions, but I don't like much things, so, things. Number 1. New Year's resolutions is like a sugar or cocaine rush. Once you're on it, once you've started, you feel wonderful. You feel happy and go-getting, and you're ready to achieve anything, really. But then at the end of the day, when you realize when the rush has worn off, you don't stick to it. Why? Well, I'll get into that as well. Number 2, which actually coincides with the first one, you put off doing things to the new year in order to improve yourself. In other words, you set these goals for yourselves and waited until the new year in order to set the goal for yourself. Which means you've already failed in a sense, because you've taken the time to wait. To wait before you make that new change. And what's going to stop you from, once you're doing this New Year's resolution, from saying, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do it next week, or I'll do it next month? You've already taken the time straight off the bat to say, I'm going to do it next year. So it's not that far of a stretch in order to say, okay, I'm actually not going to do it properly when it comes around. It's a timing thing. If you wait for something to happen, or you wait for yourself to do something, you're more likely going to say, oh, I'll do it later, when the time comes around that you actually want to do it. You're setting yourself up to fail from the very get-go. You know what I mean? Number 3, you don't have a plan or measurable goals. An example, some people's New Year's resolutions, and if this is yours, I am sorry. Not really. But if this is your resolution of, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to eat healthier, I'm going to go to the gym more often, I'm going to do such and such a thing more or less, you haven't really set yourself any achievable goals. You've just turned around and said, I'm going to do this, and you're not holding yourself accountable because you've no guidelines to go by. The reality is, it's not a goal by any definition. New Year's resolutions, they're not really goals. Well, for some people they are, because they plan out what they're going to do, but for the majority of folk, they don't. That's why they fail. Goals are something more along the lines of, I'm going to lose this amount of weight, or I'm going to put this much amount of body mass on so I can start building muscle, or I'm going to save this certain amount of money each day, each month, each week, etc., etc. It's something with an achievable, measurable level of progression. For an example, I could say, I'm going to lose 20 pounds this year. Now, that's a good goal, but you don't have a plan for it. So you ask yourself, what am I going to do? Okay, I'm going to eat less every day. How can I measure that? Okay, maybe calories, maybe visit a dietitian or your doctor to say, look, what can I do every day, on a daily basis, weekly basis, in order to achieve my goal? It's something you can measure, because you can buy a scale and measure yourself. Another example would be, say you want to get your driver's license this year. Well, in Ireland, you have to have 12 driver's lessons, and then you go for the test. And before that, you have to do a driving theory test. Things that you can measure, that you can write out and say, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, I have 3 more tests to go, etc., etc. And then you can go for your driving lesson. And then you can go for your driving test. Measurable goals. That's why a lot of people fail. They just say, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. I'm going to achieve this thing, and not tell myself how I'm going to do it. It's why most resolutions are absolute horse. Complete and utter horse. I don't know if that's an expression. Is that an expression? Probably is. So, I'm going to tell you how you can actually achieve your New Year's resolutions. If you truly want to achieve your resolutions, you have to make it a habit. That's the simplest way to put it. Everything that you want to do in your life becomes a habit. Which is kind of interesting because this is never really taught. Everyone is always told, oh, do this, learn that, such and such, but you're never actually told, make it a habit. Just do it every day till it becomes automatic to you. That's kind of what a habit is. A great example is how our body is actually designed to follow a rhythmic pattern. For an example, most people eat 3 square meals a day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? Now, what happens if you miss one of those meals? You get really hungry. Why? Because your body has gotten so used to it that it's become automatic. It's become a habit. It's why, realistically, our bodies are not built for that. It's why we put on weight. It's why we put on fat. Our body is not built for that. Our body is actually built for intermittent fasting. It's kind of a biological thing because of our ancestors running around chasing after, I almost said reindeer. Well, I mean, it was Christmas time. Why was it the first animal that comes to mind? But yeah, we had to hunt to survive and all that jazz. So our bodies were not built for constant consumption. That just makes it sound like cannibalism. But getting back on track, let's look at a few examples. Gym rats. Why are they gym rats? At first, they probably did not want to go to the gym, but they kept doing it, and doing it, and doing it, and doing it. Whether it was daily, whether it was weekly, whether it was bi-daily or bi-weekly, they just kept doing it, and for good reason. They did it until it became a habit, and then they continued doing it until it became natural for them to just not even think about it, but just go and do it. But they've made it to such a point where it's a part of them. It's a part of their psyche now. It's also something that they can measure. They can measure it in achievable things, like say 50 reps a day, or they've rode on the rowing machine for 10 miles or something like that. It's something with a measurable, achievable goals. But the other part of this is, if you want to achieve and create a habit, you have to create a system where you're either accountable to yourself or you're accountable to someone else. Most people don't have the drive to be accountable to themselves, which is why they fail so many resolutions or goals and wants? No, it's just goals. Yeah. But finding someone that you can be accountable to for your actions or inactions is an incredibly important thing. That's why a lot of people that you see that go to the gym go with a partner, as in a friend or, gym buddy. That's self-explanatory, really. Another example would be, let's say, people who drive cars. Right? Not everyone's drivers, I understand that. And I've been doing quite a bit of driving, and I've noticed that I do not really like being in the passenger seat anymore. And most drivers will, from my understanding, be in the same kind of mindset. Because once you become a driver, once you're able to drive, it becomes a part of who you are, in a small sense. To some, it can be their entire livelihood or their entire life, and that's totally understandable as well. But once you've built the habit of being in control of the vehicle, being aware of all the obstacles and the dangers of driving, you don't like being out of control of that. Another example would be creatives, people who create art, music. Why did I bring fart there? Authors, movie creators, producers, editors, photographers, painters. Once you continue doing something like that to such an extent, it becomes a part of who you are. You've built this habit, this creative endeavor over time to the point where it's a part of your personality, where it's a part of your inner being. It's a habit. It's a habit that you work and build on every single chance you get. The other thing to do with this whole endeavor is the fact that willpower only gets you so far. That's why having someone you can depend on to be accountable to is very, very important. It's so important. There is a whole thing about willpower, and willpower doesn't always work. Neither does motivation. Sometimes you have to force yourself to do something, and you have to force yourself to do it until it becomes a habit. It's as simple as that. The last really thing I would say about all this is don't call your goals New Year's resolutions. Because once you've made that your mindset, that's going to be your mindset for the rest of the time that you're doing that goal, which means you're going to be relying solely on willpower. You're kind of just relying on the willpower and the excitement of a new year in order to achieve your goals. And it is going to hurt you in the long run, from my personal opinion. I'm not a professional in any sense of the word. Most people I've met, their resolutions have failed. Mine included from the previous years. It's one of the reasons why I hate it so much. Mind you, I've never really made many resolutions, to be fair. I think I made like 3 in my entire life. Don't call it a New Year's resolution. Don't call it anything. If you have to call it something, call it a goal. Everyone has 2 minutes a day, right? So if it's a daily thing that you can do on a daily, I would recommend just do it for 2 minutes a day until it becomes a part of your daily habit, and build the amount of minutes and time and effort that you put into it. It's very, very simple. It's very simple, and no one teaches this to anyone, which is really weird to me. So to recap this entire video rant, irky thing, let's finish it with this. Don't call it a New Year's resolution, because it's stupid. Don't rely on willpower. Find someone to hold you accountable for your goal. Measure your goal. Make a measurable, calculated goal that you can work towards, and calculate the progress. I can't find another word for calculate in my brain right now. And keep doing it daily, weekly, whatever it is, until it becomes a part of your routine. Until it becomes a part of who you are. That's the best way to achieve your New Year's resolutions. Just don't call it that. I know I'm gonna get a lot of people going, but why you do this? Because it's stupid. That's why. Nobody teaches people this stuff. Nobody teaches how to build habits. It's very, very simple. It's the simplest thing imaginable. Just do it a couple minutes every single day. Do it at a particular time if you can. First when you wake up, before you go to sleep, halfway through the day, after lunch, when you get back from work, whatever it is. Do it for a few minutes every day till it becomes a part of your daily routine. Have measurable goals, have someone accountable to hold you accountable, and track your progress. Simple. To me personally, New Year's resolutions are like, it's a simple way of society saying, hey, look how cool I am, look what I'm doing this year. Don't be like that. Just be yourself and build your life brick by brick till you've built a monument of extraordinary beauty. That's basically the best way I can put it. Anyways, I've ranted long enough. I hope you enjoyed. But that's all for now. All the best, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.